This is Badass Billy Gunn, 11-time WWE Tag Team Champion, Intercontinental Champion, Hardcore Champion, and you're listening to IcoPod. You gotta hear this. And if you're not listening to this, I got 2 words for you. Suck it.
And we're back with episode 56 of IcoPod, the longest reigning podcast in the history of podcasting as it were to pertain to WWF circa 93, 94. I'm assuming that might not even be accurate. I'm Bob Conley Jr., and with me as always is Austin Skinner. Austin, how you doing?
I am doing well, even though I'm sitting on the computer with you on fucking Valentine's Day.
Well, you say that, but you literally just told your girlfriend, hey, get the fuck out of here and go into the bedroom so I can do this podcast with Bob.
Yeah, that was literally word for word what just happened.
Yeah, she threw the engagement ring at his face and said, fuck you, Austin, and left.
This shit's done.
Yeah, we're through. Also, I love you.
So yeah, we exchanged cards before going on the air, and I swiftly got on the air. Luckily, this round, though, Bob and I are only doing one episode because, of course, the next episode we sit down and record is none other than the WWF Royal Rumble 1994 edition. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, Royal Rumble looks to be a pretty strong show. So you mentioned your Valentine's Day's plans, or what you had done for Valentine's Day, which was probably working, and then what you just mentioned. I, on the other hand, have been cleaning my apartment. I cleaned my toilet today, a deep scrub. So that was fun. But yeah, I have nothing else going on. I've been giving updates with you guys regarding my love life, and surprisingly, people have been messaging me about it. And
really,
yeah, I mean, it's like the same, few guys.
Hey,
but hey, it's if that's what we want to do, that's what we'll do. I mean, if you guys message us on IcoPod on the Facebook page, usually I don't know if Austin really talks to anybody on there. It's usually me responding to you.
I'm more active, I think, in the comments every once in a while.
There you go. Yeah.
I don't do too much of the inbox gimmick.
Yeah. So if you inbox us, if you slide into our DMs, it is me talking to you. So just kind of a friendly reminder. I have a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
I can't readily be there at all times to respond to various messages. Not to say that people are like, hey man, fucking answer me. But I don't want you guys to think that I'm ignoring you or anything of that nature.
Well, and this is a good point to bring up too. So in my regular day-to-day job, I am actually a social media manager. So that's one of my many tasks in sales. And I manage like 3 Facebooks for work and at least 4 other ones for recreation. So I get my fill of answering messages and replying to social media. So me not being super, super active on the IcoPod page, that's my excuse. That I do this shit kind of for a living, and I get sick of it sometimes.
Right.
So,
yeah. So I'm usually the guy you'll be talking to. I only have 2 Facebook pages, and I don't even really update wrestling recaps anymore. I don't know why, but
really, I haven't noticed that either.
I don't. It's funny because with wrestling, I don't really post a lot of updates on wrestling recaps anymore. Or at least lately, I shouldn't say anymore, but lately. But I am reviewing shows all the fucking time. I just save them at drafts,
right?
To eventually then upload, and then I'll dump like 30 on a time. I just find the time and motivation to do that. It's a lot. I find it a lot more fun to actually write them than to upload them.
I agree.
It's a weird thing. But a little update with my friend, quote unquote friend.
Mm-hmm.
I am definitely inserting myself in the friend zone, and I'm going to stay there. It's not really worth the battle mentally to even get my hopes up on it. So I'm just going friends with it. But I was just telling Austin right before we got on the air, I'm going to have a little story before we get into IcoPod. It's only 1 episode this week, so if I go on a 3-hour tangent, hey, it's like we did 2 episodes anyway.
Yeah.
So, I've been trying my luck here with online dating. It worked out for a little while there with one lady that Austin was a pretty big fan of.
Yeah, and just to kind of sidebar off of that really quick, her personality was really good. She was pretty attractive.
Yeah, way out of my league. Definitely outshot my coverage on that one.
Yeah, and just what the whole thing, her and Bob were at very different stages in their lives. So I think Bob kind of knew from the outset that there was maybe an expiration date on that, which is unfortunate, but that happens, and you got to be realistic with your relationships.
Right.
So
There's no question about that. It's funny that you say that because I think I've mentioned it to you before, but I'm going to say it on air right now. I probably loved her.
And you never said it. You
never said it. But it's because I knew that there was an expiration date, and I'm not going to say that knowing that it's not going to last.
Right.
So I'm not going to do that. So if she would ever listen to this, I miss you.
Ooh, breaking news here on IcoPod.
Yeah, she in hindsight, I probably wasn't very vocal enough with her.
I would agree with that.
But hey, what can you do?
Right.
Anyway, so I have I guess you would say a Tinder account.
And
so every time that I get a match, I literally jump because I'm not expecting it. Like the notification surprises me. It's like, whoa, okay, someone actually likes me. So anyway, I got a message on Snapchat from a friend of mine who I had, I guess you could say, had a fling with.
A history
with several years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Because on my profile it says, I'm looking for something easy, not somebody who is.
Yeah.
So she thought that was pretty funny. And we talked a little bit and she was like, oh, should I swipe right or should I not? Blah, blah, blah. I told her, every time I see you on there, I swipe right. And I only largely do that because I do that for anybody that I know that I find attractive. And she ended up swiping right. We matched, whatever. So we're talking, whatever. She proceeds to ignore me for about 16 hours or so. And it's like, hey, I don't need, I'm not really like an attention guy. Like I don't need that type of thing. But when it gets to hour 12 and you haven't responded to a message or something, you start to wonder what the fuck's going on. So that is another one where I'm probably just going to say, fuck it, not going to waste my time on it. I'm about to be 30. I'm not in my mid 20s where I can be like, hey, this is a fun game where I'm going to fuck around and probably get hurt. Now, there is a history which Austin alluded to. I'm not going to get in the deep specifics of it.
No need to, but I think it would be apropos of me to mention that I'm not particularly a fan of said female companion. Yeah. She kind of did Bob dirty last go round, so I think she might be playing a couple of games here with old Bob.
So if people are wondering, oh, what types of games here, I would say it's a pretty big, devastating moment for my life that I'm not going to get specifically into. But basically a brief little summation of it is I am a guy that doesn't trust very easily.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably like 4 people outside of my immediate family that I would trust. Austin, you're somebody that I trust. Dallas.
Oh, shit. You're fucking up.
I've told everybody everything.
That's mistake number 1, motherfucker.
Yeah. So Austin's somebody I trust. Dallas is somebody that I would trust. And my buddy, Matt LaFleur.
Yeah.
Is another guy that all 3 of you guys are people that I 100% trust if I had to tell you something. You're going to shoot me with the truth and then, whatever the case is, you're not going to hold it against me or whatever.
Right.
This is a situation where I had told her, this is like literally 3 or 4 years ago, but I had told her in the talking phase previously that we had that, it takes a lot for me to trust. And she was like, oh, hey, I understand that. And like, I want you to be able to trust me. I want to get to that point. And I'm like, that's a great answer.
Awesome.
Right?
Thumbs up.
That's a great answer. Like, thank you. Like, perfect. 9 days go by. 9.
Yeah.
Never forget 9 days.
Yeah.
I go into my place of work, which she also happened to work at the time, on my day off. And I go to just do like a little high five thing. Like, hey, I'm here to pay my National Grid bill. What's going on? And she goes, I can't do this anymore. I was like, what? What are you talking about? And she's like, I can't do this anymore. I've met somebody. And I was like, all right. Well, so much for that whole, want to get to that point. Mind you, the irony of this, is we were supposed to hang out that Saturday. We had made plans to hang out that Saturday, and I was kind of developing these huge plans to formally ask her to be my girlfriend on Valentine's Day.
Yes.
And that would have been about, I think, from that day, like another 6 days or something away. And she just didn't have the patience, because at the time she was like, I didn't think you were serious. I was like, you didn't even fucking ask me.
Just right.
When
she tried to turn the blame around on you, basically.
Right, which is ridiculous. And because I ended up telling her that when she was dating the new gentleman. And I was just like, listen, man, if you had just waited a week, it wouldn't have happened. She's like, oh, I made a big mistake, didn't I? And I was like, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Which was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So this is the same girl now 3 or 4 years later that, I guess not try to rekindle anything, but
he's chatting you up.
Probably see where I'm at.
Yeah.
So me being Bob, I, entertained it for a minute, and now it's just like not really worth my time.
Well, now he's going to no solar, which I think is no selling her. I think is a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of girls will be like, oh, I want something easy. I don't want drama. And then the exact opposite happens. I literally prefer being by myself.
And me and you are very alike in that way. See, I got lucky before and we're really kind of running off the rails here, but I got lucky that I kind of missed the flare up of the online dating scene, because I know for a fact just the type of person I am. I have no patience. So I wouldn't have lasted, and I wouldn't have not been very successful in the current dating world.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not much of a bar goer or nothing. So in terms of me meeting the ladies, it's, I guess either through mutual friends or that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Probably not the greatest way, but that's just a social climate for it. So yeah, if anybody out there, I suggest don't do it. Just maybe meet people on your, just go to Barnes & Noble or something.
Spy on people through the bookshelves.
Yeah, Joe Goldberg.
Hey.
Also, Mike Campbell posted something on the IcoPod page, because today is Valentine's Day, as noted. He sent us a picture of Virgil saying, "Be my Valentine for $20." It's the Yo Bro movement. We're really moving on with this.
That's right.
We're going big.
That's right.
But that's kind of my life update for my love life there, which seems to be captivating to some people. I don't know why. But it is.
Yeah.
All right. So everybody that's here, let's, I guess, get over with this bullshit nonsense of personal life stuff. Let's get into episode 56, Observer Notes. Austin, you know who 123 Kid is, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Well, he blew out his knee on January 17th, Madison Square Garden show, which we had watched just last week.
Fuck.
I didn't really notice any severe injury.
Me neither. Yeah.
But it looks like he's going to be out for 6 weeks.
Oh, shit.
So that would probably take him out of the Royal Rumble match. So that's an open slot.
Oh, man.
So Meltzer also, speaking of the Royal Rumble, kind of goes into maybe what could actually be happening at the show. And so he says that his best guess is that Owen will be the marathon man, which is lasting the longest in the match.
Awesome.
But that Brett will win. But somehow, instead of getting the title shot, the angle with his brother will take higher priority, similar to 1992, where Hogan was awarded the title shot, but that turned into Hogan Sid, Flair Savage.
Right.
And that would insert Lex Luger to get the shot at WrestleMania against Yokozuna and win the title. Meltzer then goes on to say that this is all just a guess, not a scenario laid out for him. Maybe Luger will just win the Royal Rumble. So this is just Meltzer being a fan, trying to predict what could happen, not having any kind of concrete plan. So I'm surprised this didn't blow up into a bigger deal where people are like, oh, well, you said that, man. Owen was going to be the long man and Brett's going to win and all this other shit. Last week was the 1-year anniversary for Monday Night Raw, and the rating kind of got a spike for it. It was a 3.4.
Wow.
It's also noted that it wasn't going against football for the first time in a few months.
Okay.
Of course, Monday Night Football goes on from September through December. Maybe early January, but I'm pretty sure it's just through December. There's been talks with All Japan Women Wrestling to bring in a variety of women into the WWF to feud with Alundra Blaze. Blaze had previously wrestled in All Japan as well, so she'd be familiar with a lot of talent there.
And just a quick note on that. All Japan Women's Wrestling at the time was probably the premier female organization, I'd say, in the 90s.
Do you know any women that would have been wrestling there at the time?
I do, but not off the top of my head. I think a lot, like if you were to bring up a couple different, like, I don't think Aja Kong and stuff like that, but I know there's a few names that I know. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but again, that was kind of the place to be in the early 90s for women, because really Joshi Pro, which is female pro wrestling in Japan, didn't start taking off until maybe sometime in the 80s, late 80s. So again, that was probably the most established. The rest of the promotions really didn't start sparking around until late 90s, early 2000s.
Right. Well, I know that from what I was reading, that one of the names to be brought in potentially is Bull Nakano.
Yes, she is. So there you go. That's one of the name ones.
Yeah. And anybody that maybe has been living under a rock for the past 20 plus years, Bull Nakano and Alundra Blaze will go on to feud for about 2 years. So
that's
quite a bit of. Yeah, we'll be seeing quite a bit of Bull Nakano.
Right.
Let's go on to some house show notes. There's two of them. The first one took place in Richfield, Ohio at the Coliseum on January 16th, 1994, which drew 2,800. And the card featured Men on a Mission taking on the Red and Black Knight, which I'm still amazed that they're actually on the house show circuit. Diesel squared off against the 1-2-3 Kid. Bam Bam Bigelow was in singles action against Doink the Clown. Crush squared off against Randy Savage in a best 2 out of 3 falls count anywhere match. WWF Intercontinental Champion Razor Ramon defended the title against Shawn Michaels in a ladder match. Lex Luger squared off against Ludwig Borga in a flag match. And the main event saw WWF World Champion Yokozuna defending against Tatanka.
Pretty strong. Definitely pretty strong. A lot of stipulation matches, no?
3 of them.
Yeah.
Falls count anywhere ladder in a flag match. Yeah.
Well, and then I was expecting you to say the casket thing with the main event. So.
Oh, you were expecting Yoko Taker in a casket match?
Or Bomb. Bomb's been doing them a lot with Undertaker or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that definitely shows that they're trying to ramp up the hype train for sure, without 3 stipulations out of the handful of matches on the card. So I definitely probably would have gone to that one.
I would be going as well. And you would think maybe Vince Russo had put this show together with all the stipulations.
Yeah, really.
We go to our second house show, which took place in Stockton, California at the Spano Center, which was also on January 16th, 1994, and drew approximately 2,400.
Mm-hmm.
The card featured Bob Backlund in singles action against Louis Spicoli. Owen Hart squared off against Bastion Booger. Steiner Brothers were in tag team action against the Quebecers. The Head Shrinkers were in tag team action against the Bushwhackers. Bret Hart competed in singles action against Adam Bomb. And the main event saw The Undertaker battle IRS in a casket match.
So Bret Bomb jumps out to me pretty immediately. But I think other than that, man, I'm probably skipping this one.
Yeah, that undercard's pretty brutal. Even with the Steiners and the Quebecers. I mean, I don't want to see Bushwhackers. I don't want to see Booger. I wouldn't want to see Backlund at this point live.
Right.
IRS in a main event.
IRS and Undertaker.
Yeah, I don't think so. The casket matches is going to be a whole bunch of like, oh, he's going to go in the casket.
Right. That's a lot of stalling. Yeah.
All right, so I think we'd both go to Richfield, Ohio.
Yes.
Let's go on to some syndication. On the January 15th edition of Superstars, Lex Luger squared off against Bastion Booger in a singles match. Mind you, I had said maybe we should just skip this one, but Austin was like, no. This is one we're gonna have to watch. So since
Oh, fuck
Austin
yeah.
wanted to watch this so fucking much, Austin, how about you lead us down this road?
You know, and you're trying to be tricky there, but I guarantee you, Bob, you have no notes on this.
I
match
have
at all.
all the notes on this match.
I
I have
bet.
play-by-play on it. I do.
Sure.
I'm not even kidding. I just want you to fucking do this.
Well, I will gladly take the reins here. Of course, first of all, so we found the video on YouTube. That's where we were able to locate this, which usually is the case with these syndication videos. This one in particular looked like it was filmed with a potato because the quality was fucking horrendous. Horrible. Like 240p max. So I really wanted to note that. So if you go out of your way to watch it, not really sure why you would, but be prepared to barely be able to fucking tell what is going on. So Lex made his way to the ring first, from what I could tell. And I thought I heard some boos from Lex. So an interesting, maybe mixed reaction for Lex Luger here.
I think that's been the trend for a lot of his appearances lately.
Yeah. And it was really noticeable here for sure, because I definitely picked up on it regardless of the quality of the video.
Yeah.
So Booger was already in the ring, which always isn't a very good sign. So he gets no entrance here. And we know there's like noted that there's a sub, like a submarine sandwich waiting for him under the corner turnbuckle, which again is kind of his little go-to spot at this point. So the sandwich is under the turnbuckle for him. Bell rings. We start off with a shove off. We get a stalemate and a couple shoulder blocks. Booger hit a power slam and a leg drop for a near fall. And this was starting to turn into another match for Lex where he's getting fucking zero offense and it's a shit opponent.
Yeah.
So
it's similar to Barry Horowitz, right? From a couple weeks
ago. Yeah. Where it's just a not even close to the same tier, quote unquote, talent guy.
Right.
Know,
I feel like
underneath.
I think I've used this comparison before. That stuff works with a guy like Bret Hart.
It's where you care, where you want to see him make the little fiery comeback.
Right, because he's got a level of underdog in him. He's always had that in him. But a guy like Lex Luger,
who looks like a Greek statue.
Exactly.
And has been pushed to the moon.
Right. You know? You're trying to make him your number one face. Yeah. You shouldn't be struggling with Barry Horowitz and Bastion fucking Booger.
And he was.
Yeah, like I don't understand. That's got to hurt the presentation in the fans' eyes. It just has to.
For sure. Back in the action here, if you can call it that, Booger was really taking it to Luger. Again, Luger had any kind of minuscule offense at this point. He was able to dodge like a runaway train, so he dodges out of the corner, out of the turnbuckles, and hit a couple chains of clotheslines, an attempted slam, which was unsuccessful. And here I had a note. So if he could pick up and slam Yokozuna, who's over 500 pounds, then why can't he slam the 400-pound Booger? And mind you, the announcers, so Vince or whoever was on commentary, Stan Lane maybe, literally said about Booger being 400 pounds. So that makes no sense. So I don't get how he can't slam somebody who's lighter. I thought was kind of stupid.
It's weird professional wrestling storytelling. They ignore things to benefit them in the short term. Because I thought the same thing when I was watching it. I was like, this guy should have no problem slamming Booger. He's done it to Yoko, what, 3 times now at least?
Yeah.
So how is he not doing it right now?
And that's kind of what I chalked it up to, just kind of bad storytelling, looking for something kind of a cheap way to make the match make sense in its own context, I guess.
Well, because it's not even like Booger was working over the lower back.
No.
If you were to be focusing on the lower back for a few minutes, then you can tie it
maybe.
in.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, there was no explanation. He just couldn't do it. It was like a Hogan Andre thing where he like attempts to pick him up a couple times, falls down, almost gets pinned after falling down out of the suplex or the power slam, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Lex moved out of the way from a second standing splash that was attempted. He hit his own axe handle off the second rope. Again, almost got pinned after falling under a slam. Booger knocked Lex to the floor and was sandwiched against the post with a body block. So Booger kind of stood him up against the post, hit him with a body block splash, And it kind of like woke Luger up, which I thought was really stupid because it looked like he just got destroyed. And then all of a sudden he makes like a fiery comeback. He hits a few clotheslines, gets Booger back into the ring, hits him with the forearm, and there's your pin. So just the whole finish and going into the finish seemed really lazy to me. Like, okay, we don't know how to make this make sense, so just splash me and I'll snap out of it and beat you.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
It didn't make sense at all. Like, and my main point with this whole match was I thought it was dumb in a storytelling and execution point of view. But I was glad I picked this one because I think it's helping me realize that Lex Luger, even as the American original, is just not good in 1993 or 1994.
Yeah, so the one thing that still drives me nuts about Lex Luger is his inability to throw a good punch. And literally what I'm going to do after we record here is I'm going to edit some of those the last couple weeks of podcasts, make sure we got those lined up. But I'm also going to put on, I think, a Lex Luger Ric Flair match from like 89 or 1990 and see if he's always been this fucking bad at throwing a punch.
They're not believable at all.
It's because, and I know we've talked about it before, but I think it's really important to emphasize this. He doesn't really move his hips or anything. It's just like it's all like upper body, but it's just weird.
Yeah,
it's a weird movement. It's not a natural movement.
Right.
You look at a guy like Bret Hart throwing a punch and like Luger throwing a punch.
There's the whole body into it, you know.
Yeah, Bret is just throwing himself into it. Like a Jerry Lawler punch is a great punch.
Right.
Luger's he's just so forced. It's so phony.
Yeah.
It's like Hogan hitting his own hand when he puts it on somebody's forehead and he punches. That's one of the I'll never forget watching Nitro. I think it was the first Nitro. And I was like, oh my God, he's hitting his own hand.
Yeah.
It's not real. And then a few like I think I had hope that it was still real. And then I saw Billy Gunn, who does the opener for this show, stomping his foot and not even coming close to hitting a guy's face. And I was like, this is not real.
Yeah.
That's just fake wrestling.
See, I always like kind of highlighting your point here, Bob. So with the Hogan fist thing, punching his own hand, they call that a guiding hand. So that hand he's using to basically guide his punch. And if you've ever seen Bret, like he'll do the same thing. So he'll grab the guy's head either by the hair, if he's got long hair, or just kind of towards the forehead. But Bret lets go way before his punch is supposed to, quote unquote, connect. Hogan always left it there, kind of thing. So there's good ways to do it. There's bad ways to do it. I think Lex is definitely the latter part of the conversation. And I know, just as Bob pointed out, we have touched on that ad nauseum at this point.
And I'm going to still do it every time you can't do it right. You're right about Bret. If I were to grab your hair, if I'm Bret Hart, I grab your hair and I got my punch ready, I'll be halfway through my swing. It's already gone.
And he's already, yeah.
So you're absolutely right with that. Well, speaking of Bret Hart on syndication, he announced some pretty big news. And he announced that he is stepping aside from his singles career and will be wrestling as a tag team with Owen Hart for the rest of his WWF career. Now, when he announced this, Owen was with him, and Owen did not look like he was very thrilled about this revelation. So Bret looks like he's all in on the Hart family tag team. Owen's just like, really, dude? I mean,
you sure?
Forever? Is that what we really want to go with?
Oh, yeah.
It's an interesting bit of news there. But let's get into WWF Raw from January 17th, 1994 from Richmond, Virginia. We are taped. A reminder that last week's episode was a live watch of the Madison Square Garden show, which took place on the same day. So I want to keep that in context of what we see here. Kind of a breaking of the
standard,
the illusion of like, oh, it's live or whatever. Because a variety of different things will be shown that it's not true. Right. Anyway, let's get into it here. A video highlighting the tag title match from last week where 1-2-3 Kid and Marty Jannetty defeated the Quebecers to win the titles is shown. McMahon notes that they won the titles earlier, but the referee had restarted the match and they were able to win the titles a second time. We then go into our Raw opening video, and when we come back, Vince McMahon is joined by Crush on the commentary side of things. Crush says that every man is in the match for themselves in regards to the Royal Rumble this Saturday. Crush believes that he is going to be the winner. McMahon proceeds to promote Savage taking on IRS later tonight. Crush knows that Savage is better than anyone, and says that Savage has stabbed him in the back for a long time. He also suggests that Savage be prepared for the beating of his life.
Yeah,
brother.
yeah. Yeah, I was just gonna make mention. So he talks about the Royal Rumble a little bit. Take a good look at the Royal Rumble winner, Crush. It's like, oh, okay. Mind you, he's wearing a ripped up flannel and face paint. So this guy looks like a fucking joke. He kind of looks like a indie Ultimate Warrior, maybe. So like not in good as shape, weird face paint to like not directly rip off Ultimate Warrior. And like Warrior would wear those flannels and shit, like in the backwards hat, like when he wasn't on camera.
I was gonna say he would a hat on camera. A couple of years from now. It just look totally weird.
Right. So that's what this kind of reminded me of. Crush's look here, which I thought is kind of a weird comparison, but that's what I got from it. And we also get Stan Lane calling in live from Madison Square Garden during this segment. And he's going to be giving us kind of up to the minute reports from MSG, which I thought was a really cool spin. And I almost wish that they would do that more in current times to maybe make the house shows, quote unquote, feel more important. Like, hey, by the way, this is what happened. Somebody was there live. Check out his report or something like that. Like, I wish if they were doing same night shows that they would do that more.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because if I was promoting the WWE or WWF at this time, whichever, I know a lot of people don't like when there's 30 or 40 title changes in a year or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
That's really drastic, but they don't like it when there's more than like 5.
Right.
For like the world title and stuff like that. But as a promoter, you're trying to drive home house shows. I mean, when was the last time the WWF or WWE World Championship changed hands at a house show? Never.
I can't. Yeah, I don't even know.
You know what I mean? Like in the existence of television, obviously, like primetime television shows.
Right.
Obviously, it happened a lot in the 80s because
and we're not talking swerves and dusty finishes, like
right. I mean, like what Diesel? I know Diesel Backlund, later this year or whatever. That's a house show title change technically, but I mean, really, in the grand scheme of things, how many times does that happen?
Right. I mean, other than that, I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Right. So what I would do is I'd be like, hey, man, we should have, let's say, 5 or 6 title changes on the house shows. And people will be like, well, that's blasphemy. Why would we do that? Well, because you're bringing a level of reality to your company.
Right.
If you were to have a UFC show every fucking night with the same 2 guys fighting, the same guy isn't going to win every single night.
Exactly.
So one of the time, like if you have Conor McGregor against, the 10th best UFC fighter, Conor McGregor will win probably 6 or 7 out of the 10 matches they have. But that one guy, he'll find a way.
Right. You never know.
Weakness and all these things. You can play so much different things into it. That if you were to be like, hey, here on Monday Night Raw, AJ Styles has been champion for 300 days. Well, last night in Louisville, Kentucky, he lost the belt to Mustafa Ali.
Right.
So fans are going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? That happened at a house show?
Right.
And you do it the fluke. But then let's say in 3 months you go later on and say, oh, Ali lost the belt to Randy Orton at a house show.
Or you
People
could even
I have to go to these shows now because I don't know who's going to win.
Right, and you could even turn it into a gimmick. Like the champ has to have at least 10 title defenses in a month, and they promote it on the house show. Hey, here's title defense number 2, of the month. AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan, a rematch. Here you go. This is the number, and this could be it. This second title defense that he's required by contract to do, he might lose it. Maybe 1 out of the 10 he does. Maybe he goes the whole 10 until the next pay-per-view or whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
And the thing
something
too
like
with
that.
the thing with the network too is like, why don't you just bring a camera? If you know you're going to do it, bring a camera and you can put it on your hidden gems.
Or make your own section.
Right.
WWE Live.
Exactly. Like
You can watch it
big,
live. Watch it live.
Yeah. Like you're restricting yourself so much if you think it has to be just on television. Nobody fucking watches them alive anymore.
No.
Not to the rate of, whatever it was when it's popular. There's like
Right.
2 million people watching it now.
Right.
Got to branch off. All right. Back to 94. Match number 1. It's Owen Hart taking on Terry Austin. Bret Hart is at ringside with Owen. This is likely an attempt to make sure that Owen doesn't get booed out of the building, because he certainly is not getting strong face reactions.
And I just want to make note here quick, because I'm not sure you would have maybe picked up on it, Bob, because the camera cut pretty quick.
I noticed that they kept on. I don't know if they were trying to hide something, but they were making sure to cut away pretty quick.
I'm not sure, but I did notice that Bret held the ropes open for Owen, and Owen jumped over him to get in the ring.
Okay, yeah, I did not notice that.
So I thought that was a nice little subtle thing. Like, Bret, here he is trying to, here you go, brother, come on in the ring. And Owen just goes over the top of him.
Like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
That's good. That is a good touch.
Yep.
Owen monkey flips Austin, who lands on his head or shoulder. It looked pretty bad, like a bad bump.
Mm-hmm.
Austin tries for a monkey flip, but it is met with a knee drop by Owen. Stan Lane calls in from Madison Square Garden, promoting the tag match taking place between Kid and Jenny defending against the Quebecers. I believe that's when he's mentioning, like, they look fired up or something. That might be a little later on, but he's really trying to promote it as a big time match, which is a good touch, like you've mentioned before.
Yeah.
Owen delivers a kick to the side of Austin's head, and then he hits a middle rope elbow drop. Owen snap suplexes Austin and follows up with a top rope missile drop kick, and then he wins the match with the sharpshooter.
Just a couple things here. I did note that, Owen hit some solid slams, nice second rope elbow. Everything Owen does looks good, solid, believable, just so crisp and so clean. He hits his missile drop kick, and at that point he asked Bret at ringside if he could apply the sharpshooter. Like, should I do it? Bret's like, yeah, go for it. He's like, go for it. So he slaps on the sharpshooter. He gets a submission finish here. It blows my mind, right? So a guy like Owen Hart, who's average build, average size, not totally tuned up in personality, but can just have these really nice, again, solid, consistent matches with basically no names. Like, for me, that was a pretty good match.
Yeah.
A really nice opener for Raw, and another nice showing for Owen that says, hey, this guy is, if he's not arrived, he's just about there, because he's firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, he's my early pick for like breakout 94.
They're really trajecting him to that point. Yeah.
And you just compare it to January of 93 when he was like in high energy or whatever.
Right.
To
Getting
where he
thrown out of the Rumble of fucking number 3 or some stupid shit. Like, nobody gives a fuck.
Landed pretty bad on his knee too, if I remember correctly with that. So
yeah.
But yeah, no, this was a pretty fun match, and Owen's looking really, really good. There's no question about that.
Mm-hmm.
After the match, Vince McMahon interviews Owen and Bret, and he notes that the rematch is taking place like within the hour at Madison Square Garden. Owen says that it's great that Marty and Kid are getting a title shot. They are the champions, but this is a shot for Owen to get a shot along with Bret. Owen wants the Quebecers. Bret isn't going to root for the Quebecers and thinks that Kid and Jannetty would give them a shot when the time is right. Owen noticeably looks disappointed by Bret's answer there.
It kind of rolls his eyes like, whatever, Bret, you know it all kind of thing.
Yeah, well, it was like that. And I kind of took it as like disappointed that Bret wasn't supportive of Owen wanting the titles.
Yeah.
It was like, that's how I took it as.
Right.
But in any event, this is a funny segment considering that in reality, Owen and Bret are at the Garden.
Oh, yeah.
So if you notice, they had to have planned this 2 weeks out, or even longer, because this was all recorded many weeks ago. They were at the Garden.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's right.
So it's kind of a funny.
Oh my god.
They're cutting a promo on something they have not even like seen yet or anything. They're just like,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
We go to an ad where a guy acts like several different wrestlers. Well, actually, I think it's mostly just Savage, but there's a couple trying to impress a woman on a bench. Randy Savage enters the scene, and then it's he wins her over. Basically, the WWF saying, "Don't believe in the imposters."
Yeah, it's that same cheap imitations commercial
Yeah, cheap
that we've
imitations.
seen. It's been a while since they've aired it, but we have seen it before. Same superstars that they show. So we get like Shawn and Razor and Savage, or maybe not Shawn, but a couple different guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of a subtle shot maybe to the competition.
Without question.
Yeah.
We go to our second match. It is Tatanka taking on George South. Crush on commentary promises that Randy Savage will pay for what he did to IRS last week. That's in reference to the cake being thrown into his face. Tatanka hip tosses South out of the corner, followed by a few chops and a clothesline. South clotheslines Tatanka for a two count, and then South scoop slams Tatanka. Stan Lane calls into the show and gives an update to the title rematch, saying that Jannetty and Kidd are fired up and determined to retain the titles tonight at Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm.
Tatanka overhand chops South several times, and he comes off the top with an overhand strike for the win. Mind you, again, Tatanka is at the Garden. I thought it was actually pretty good. I enjoyed South's work here. He kind of made Tatanka look a lot better than probably what he is. But I thought it was pretty consistent. So we got, I thought, two pretty solid back-to-back enhancement matches.
Yeah, I somewhat agree with you. I just a couple things here about Tatanka. I noticed that he was really kind of blown up a lot more than usual. So I don't know, maybe he skipped the gym a couple of times here this week or something like that when this was filmed.
He's relying too much on the ICO, bro.
Yeah, I'm thinking
he's
that's
not
what it
working
is.
out. He's just drinking it.
Yeah. Speaking of fake stuff, his hair looked completely like extensions in the back.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, it just did not look real at all. It was like puffy when the rest of his hair was like slicked back down, flat.
Right. You know, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. You want to know? It took me to my mid-20s to notice this. Are you ready for this huge revelation?
I don't know if I am.
Okay. You know Meng?
Yes.
So WCW Meng.
Right.
I was maybe 25 years old when I realized that he had extensions.
Wait, so you thought the big...
So like 1995 Meng. He's got like the short hair, and then like on the bottom, it's like all puffed out.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100% extensions.
And that's what Tatanka's hair looked like here.
Right. But I'm saying, like, as a kid, I was like, I never knew that. I didn't even know about Tatanka, but it took me till I was 25 to realize that, I don't even know how many times like I've watched like 1995 Bash at the Beach or something.
Oh my
where,
gosh.
where Meng is, heavily on the show, or
Yeah.
like all the Saturday night shows that I'll like review even today. And it's just like I never like it's like a bad
No, yeah, you can tell.
like a bad extension.
Yeah, you can tell.
And it took me 20 years to even like notice it. And I was just like, are you fucking kidding me?
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I for the longest time I was like, oh, he just has a weird haircut. But no, it's extensions.
Yes.
Blew my fucking mind.
That's awesome. So yeah, that I don't know. I guess I wasn't ready for that. 25.
I'm surprised about Tatanka though. That
dude,
you have to be right.
It definitely looked like it. Definitely. Because they were even kind of clipped where you'd have to clip them, where the hair in the back still kind of long, so not all the way towards the bottom, but up towards the middle of the back of the head kind of thing.
Okay.
So I picked up on that immediately. Again, he was super winded in this match. George South, though, just like you noticed, I was pretty impressed with. I thought he had great facial expressions, showed some decent personality. So it wasn't just kind of a here you go, here's some shitbag we put on TV this week. I'm pretty sure we've seen George South before. If not, I've seen him in WCW, at least doing some enhancement stuff. So I was into it. It was a good kind of follow-up to Owen. Not as great, of course, but definitely not horrible either, which we've seen horrible Tatanka matches. So
yeah, we have. George South, actually, he goes back a long ways. He's back in like the early 80s and
yeah,
maybe
I've
even
seen
earlier
him.
than that.
Yeah, I've seen him everywhere.
He's been quite a bit of enhancement matches throughout the year. So he
Right.
did, I thought he did a really good job here.
Mm-hmm.
A video promoting WWF Women's Champion Alundra Blaze is shown. Now, if you're thinking, oh, cool, they're probably showing her do, German suplexes or snap suplexes. No, it's pretty much her being like a model, and she's doing like various activities, and then she's in a bikini. So if you thought they're going to make the women's division look like they're wrestlers, we're still 20 years behind on that one.
Well, it was a complete contradiction to what we've seen previously. So before, like Bob says, they'll show, impactful moves and this emotional, tournament victory. And the girls talking about bringing athleticism just as tough as the guys. And then we get this like stop motion video of her like working out in the gym. She's like casually boxing a heavy bag. She's riding a Harley, riding a jet ski, and it's all really almost like a model shoot, as Bob alluded to there. So it's just it's confusing. It's mixed signals. Like it's not making me care. Put it that way. It's not helping the case at all.
Yeah, I would say it probably hurts the division's like credibility.
Yes.
The way that was presented.
Yes.
We get an Ico Pro ad with Razor Ramon working out and a Slim Jim ad with Randy Savage. We go back to the arena where WWF World Champion Yokozuna and Mr. Fuji come out for an interview with Vince McMahon. McMahon wants to know where Jim Cornette is at, and Fuji lets us know that Cornette is currently in Tokyo for an important press conference.
Which I thought was hilarious.
The press conference is for a big celebration for Yokozuna's upcoming victory over The Undertaker at the Royal Rumble. Big Man proceeds to mention the casket match, and that immediately spooks out Yokozuna. Just the word casket alone, which is just driving me nuts because he's just afraid of the word casket. Paul Bearer comes out pushing a double wide casket. Fuji hilariously goes, "Wow, that is a big casket."
Dear God.
It's just so funny. McMahon wants Yoko to get a closer look at the casket. Fuji gets closer to it. He laughs at it, saying how big it is. Yoko is acting pretty spooked out by it. But then Yoko seems to get some kind of confidence, and he's going to squash the casket. Yoko slowly goes over to the casket, opens up the lid a little bit, and boom! The Undertaker appears, causing Yoko to stumble backwards, fall on his ass, rolls to the floor, and just looks petrified at the Undertaker standing in the ring.
I have a few comments to make about this.
Go ahead, my friend, because I hated it, but that's okay.
Okay, so it started off fine. Yoko's in the ring with Fuji. There's no Cornette to kind of muddle things down. It's where we started. It's Yoko and it's Fuji. All right, so I'm on board. I'm like, okay, let's see what's going to happen here. Because I was just hoping it was going to be kind of a quick little segment. We get a nice little, hype up heel interview, and we're on to the next thing. We're not going to make a shit show out of this. Unfortunately, I was wrong about thinking that. So Vince starts off with Cornette, like Bob says. He asks him where he is. Did they fire him? They mentioned the press conference in Tokyo. And a couple times that I'm going to reference in this little segment, Crush on commentary was cracking me the fuck up. So right here, Crush immediately had none of your business, Vince. So he's like, don't ask Yoko about that. Don't ask about Cornette. It's none of your business. So he's peppering in these little lines, and I'll go through. There's a couple here that are, again, they crack me up. So the casket comes out or whatever. Yoko notices the casket. Bearer comes out with it. Fuji tells Vince not to mention it. And of course, he mentions it. He really kind of like hypes up the casket as if the casket's fighting Yokozuna for the title, not Undertaker. So that was fucking confusing. Again, Crush on commentary. He's solo here. So he goes, "Oh, don't worry, brothers. Yoko is over his fear. Bear's he's wasting Master Fuji's time. He's not even scared of the casket anymore," which I thought was hilarious. You know, they've trained Yoko like, "Oh, don't be afraid of that." Right. So again, as Bob already went over, they kind of walk Yoko over to it. He's talking him through. It seemed like they were almost stalling for something. Like they were kind of waiting around for a while. And I don't know if they're trying to sell Yoko getting over his fear or like Undertaker getting ready in the cat. Like, I don't know. I don't know what they were kind of stalling there for. But he's, it looks like he's built up his courage, and Fuji tells Vince that Yoko's going to crush the casket. Okay, fine. Like, I'm down to see that. Maybe Yoko's going to go out there and like throw the thing against the post or something, and it'll just explode. Like, that'd be cool. A Crush, again, going back to commentary, says that Cornette's been taking Yoko to a hypnotist, and he isn't scared anymore. Go up to that thing and squash that casket. So he's like screaming at this point on commentary. Again, all by himself. That's all you keep hearing is fucking Crush with these lines. So Undertaker pops out. As Bob says, Yoko kind of sputters out of the ring. He trips up the ramp. Chris was like, oh, he tripped.
Yeah.
He's like, you're telling him, get back up. Like, what's wrong with you, brother? Like, come on, Yoko. Like, don't be afraid, sort of thing. And I have to tell you, and this is going to blow your mind. If Crush wasn't on commentary for this, I would have hated it 10 times more than I did. But he was so distracting and so kind of charismatic, explaining this and kind of almost making fun of it a little bit himself. Like, Yoko, what are you doing? Like, get up. Why are you afraid of this? I actually didn't hate this segment, which is unbelievable because I hate the idea of it. I hate the idea of Yoko tripping up the ramp and still being scared of fucking wooden planks assembled in a casket-like structure.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's happening. And it's so cartoonish and phony. And like, if this was a WWF Mania only feud, okay. Saturday mornings, we ain't going to see this on Raw. It's not going to be highlighted on anything else. Like, just the WWF Mania storyline. Not even for the title, maybe. No problem. Like, whatever. Nobody's watching that shit anyway, except kids. But the fact that it's such a prevalent thing, featured on every show, and it's going to be for the title, is just kind of baffling to me, especially with the feuds that they have under their belt right now that are so based in realism and fleshed out, just so much better than this. And they're relying on this to kind of get people in the door, it seems like. But something tells me that's not what's actually bringing people in the door.
Yeah, probably not. Do you think maybe the commentary here could be a tease for Crush to eventually turn back face and feud with Yokozuna? Let's say maybe after WrestleMania.
I could see that, because you could play it where, and maybe Crush, that's kind of his thinking, like, ever since I joined up with Yokozuna and Fuji, well, maybe not so much Fuji, but definitely Yokozuna, he's kind of made me look like a fool a little bit. Like, here I am cheering him on, and he's scared of this casket. Like, come on, dude, what are you doing? You're making me look bad by you looking bad. So I think that would be an easy transition if they ended up doing that.
Yeah, you could just do that the night after WrestleMania, and I don't think that would be a bad feud,
right?
For Yokozuna to transition into, if he's going to maybe fall out of the main event picture,
the top spot. Yeah.
Just an interesting thing to note there, because you're right. He did a really good job with commentary and distracting people from what was going on in the ring.
And there's even a couple of more things that I'll probably highlight throughout the show, but I'm telling you, and this is another situation where, just like Jacques did a pretty damn good job, and who I don't give a fuck about, fucking Crush is on commentary, kind of killing it, and I'm into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I absolutely agree with you.
So,
well, speaking of killing it, next week's tag match could be better than what we saw last week for the tag title match. It's the Hart brothers, Brett and Owen, taking on the Head Shrinkers.
I was all in.
I'm like, holy hell.
Yeah.
That could be a whole bunch of fun. Of course, that will be happening after the Royal Rumble. So potentially that could be a WWF tag team title match if the Hart brothers were to win at the Royal Rumble against the Quebecers.
Right.
So just big point of that. Go to our third match. It's Diesel taking on Scott Powers. Now, you'll remember that Bret Hart was at ringside for Owen Hart to make sure that he got cheered. Shawn Michaels is at ringside with Diesel, likely to make sure that Diesel gets booed.
Exactly.
Crush says that he's going to take Lex Luger out real quick because Luger is a threat at the Royal Rumble. It would also be an honor to wrestle Yokozuna at WrestleMania 10. So Crush is definitely hinting at things here where it's like, I wouldn't back down from a challenge from Yokozuna. I would want to fight him at WrestleMania. It would be my pleasure to do so.
Yes.
So he's seemingly driving some hints. I don't know if this is intentional or if Crush is just ad-libbing as he's going, but I kind of like the layer that they're going for here. And it's also driving home that Royal Rumble is indeed anybody's chance to win it, and who knows what would happen.
Right.
Powers tries to get some offense going with some drop kicks, but Diesel sidesteps one of them and plants Scott with a side slam. Michaels delivers a few strikes on the floor before sending Powers back into the ring. Diesel continues his offense with a backbreaker. Stan Lane calls in and lets us know that unfortunately 1-2-3 Kid and Marty Jannetty have been robbed of the WWF Tag Team Championships.
Oh,
it's an absolute travesty. Thus, Bret and Owen will in fact get a title match this Saturday at the Royal Rumble, taking on the Quebecers. Diesel destroys Powers with a really good-looking powerbomb, I thought. I thought he hit it pretty well. And then he delivers a slap. Diesel drops Powers with a big boot and wins the match following an elbow drop off the ropes. I've been saying it. His first showing back in 93 was pretty bad, but since then, Diesel's improved dramatically each time he's had an enhancement match here on Raw. I thought it was a pretty good showing here as well, although they probably could have ended the match right after the powerbomb. They didn't need to do the big boot and the elbow drop and everything. I think the powerbomb was probably the peak time in this one.
Yeah, I would agree. Again, Diesel here is just laying his shit in. Like he's got a casual coolness about him that just works for Kevin Nash in general.
Yeah.
So the fact that that's kind of starting to finally come out with the confidence that I think Diesel has gained in the short time he's been on Raw is huge. Like that's a huge plus to his character. And I even noticed it as soon as he first came out, just a difference in his demeanor. He wasn't so wooden. He was just kind of smooth and just cool. Big Daddy cool.
He's getting comfortable.
He is. And it shows. And him and Sean are a peanut butter and jelly match made in heaven here, in my opinion, because we got a couple of kind of playful moments for him, which again stems to maybe the backstage relationship as well as the front stage relationship. So at one point here, Diesel, again, they did the throwing him out and rolling him back in, throwing him out, rolling him back in kind of thing. Sean kind of picks up the guy at first, and it was weird. It was like he had his face in his crotch, and I don't know if he was yelling at the guy or he was like punching him low. But even Crush noticed it. He was like, yeah, Sean, get him, brother. Like, what was that move? Like, because the camera, again, it was a weird cut. So he's got the enhancement guy, Scott Powers. And again, I wasn't sure if he was doing a punch or like taunting him. But then he throws him back into the ring. So we had that little moment there. Diesel again, just laying in his punches, laid in that big boot like crazy. Just kind of toying with him. And, we get the 3 count. I didn't like like you said, I didn't like just the elbow drop and the 3 count. I don't know if they were supposed to end it on the powerbomb, but Diesel just kind of wanted to make a point, or they were going to do more stuff and got short on time. Like, I don't know what happened there, but he pins him after that kind of lame little elbow drop off the ropes there on a like an Irish whip rebound or whatever. Yeah. And Sean gets in the ring, steps over the guy to high five Diesel. And again, I'm pleased where Diesel's at. Like, I really like where he's at. I like that they haven't really fucked with him too much or like muddled down anything. It seems they're just kind of letting him figure it out, which I think is good. I think that's a bonus for him.
Yeah, for sure. I was really skeptical after his first showing, and I might be jumping on the diesel truck. I
Hey
might be in
man,
there.
I told you I was even down the first showing. I was down.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. You were digging it before that.
So I'm definitely a Diesel guy. I'm looking forward to his 1994 because really the tail end of 1993 was pretty strong for him.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm into it. I liked it.
It should be interesting where Diesel potentially goes throughout '94. I mean,
Yeah.
we know where he goes, but it'd be fun to see that journey as we get there.
Right. Well, because think about it, not to cut you off here again, but think about all the other big guys, all the other big heel guys, Bam Bam and Booger and all these guys that was like, it kind of came in with like, oh, okay, well, Mr. Hughes in 93, destroying guys and then turns to shit. So either we're going to get that or they're going to learn from their mistakes, which hopefully happens, and we're going to get something good out of it. So I'm holding out hope for Diesel. I really am. And I think with Sean in his corner, again, in and out of the ring, will make a world of difference for him.
Yeah, and I think it's huge that they've protected him pretty well. He hasn't been in any major angles or anything.
Right.
No major defeats either, I don't think so.
Well, other than Savage getting the pin on him, but I think that even kind of gives him the shine a little bit.
Right, yeah, I mean, it's Savage.
Yeah.
That's a huge name, you know.
Right.
That's
Right.
not going to kill him or anything.
Right.
Let's get into the Royal Rumble report with Todd Pettengill. He notes that the Royal Rumble is, in fact, this Saturday and is only on pay-per-view. So, kids, call your local pay-per-view provider, and it's right on your bill or whatever, and get it from there. He's really kind of showing us here.
Yeah.
WWF World Champion Yokozuna defends against Undertaker in a casket match. It is noted that this will be Undertaker's only opportunity against Yokozuna, similar to Lex Luger at SummerSlam. So if Taker were to lose, all he has to do is wait till the Royal Rumble to then get into the Royal Rumble.
Get the fan vote. Yeah.
And then fight him at WrestleMania 11.
Right.
So that's probably where they're going to go with this, the longest angle ever. WWF Tag Team Champions, the new WWF Tag Team Champions. Quebecers defending against Brett and Owen Hart. WWF Intercontinental Champion Razor Ramon will defend against IRS. Tatanka will be in singles action against Ludwig Borga. There will be a 30-man Royal Rumble match to earn a title shot at WrestleMania. Pettengill once again goes over the rules for the match, and he says that he'll be live from Providence this Saturday on Mania, where the numbers will be selected for the wrestlers. I'll just do a rundown again of all the men involved: Crush, Kamala, Owen Hart, Mabel, Scott Steiner, Shawn Michaels, Diesel, Adam Bomb, Bam Bam Bigelow, Randy Savage, 123 Kid, Fatu, Samu, still wrong pictures for them, Bret Hart, Rick Steiner, Bob Backlund, Greg Valentine, Billy Gunn, Bart Gunn, Rick Martel, Bastion Booger, Marty Jannetty, Doink, Jeff Jarrett, Tatanka, Ludwig Borga, Tenryu, Great Kabuki, and Lex Luger.
Again, we've set up before a pretty strong lineup. I'm looking forward to the Royal Rumble probably more so than anything else on the card, which is saying something because there's some decent little feuds and matches that are kind of unfolding or maybe even potentially wrapping up at the big show.
Yeah, I'm pretty bummed that Virgil's not in it. That sucks.
Well, yeah, although maybe he's going to be a surprise entrant because there's going to be a spot to fill.
That's true, because 123 Kid does have his knee blown out.
Yeah.
So not being in the show.
Yeah.
So that could be for Virgil.
Right.
All these tag teams that are on here, Mabel's in there, but no Mo.
Oh, they took Mo out?
He must be. He was not on the list here.
Yeah, because they originally he definitely was.
I'm pretty sure. I'll have to go back and listen again, but
Interesting. And this is the 1 week I didn't write it down just because we've gone over it so many times.
Yeah. I thought about not writing it down, but I was like, it's the last show. We'll just
yeah.
Footage from last week's Raw where Savage shoved cake into IRS's face is shown. They will be fighting next. But before that, we got a Rage in the Cage Sega CD ad.
Rage in the Cage from Alfred Hayes.
Oh, Lord Alfred Hayes. You gotta love him. That brings us to our main event. Randy Macho Man Savage squaring off against Erwin R. Shyster, IRS. Savage goes to the ring and wants Crush to enter. He's pretty much, taunting him from the middle rope. And I thought for sure Savage would just run out and jump Crush over the table. I'm surprised that he didn't do that.
Yeah, and let me tell you too, when Savage came out and then when he started yelling down at the crowd was going fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Like they were all over it. So it's still, even though they've kind of cooled it off a little bit, it's still a pretty major angle.
Right. And Meltzer's noted that their matches on the house shows have sucked. So it makes me wonder, maybe this match or this feud is a good TV feud and not really a good house show feud.
Right.
So that's making me kind of wonder there. After a commercial, we return to IRS entering the ring. He clearly had just stopped talking, likely cutting his usual tax cheap promo, but we didn't see that. And he enters the ring to work over Savage with a few elbow shots and an elbow drop. IRS taunts the crowd after a back elbow strike. As Mike Campbell just sent me a message. What do you want? What the fuck?
Uh-oh.
Oh, wow. All right. So let me just, I'll restart, but I just want to point this out. So I was doing Memphis reviews for 86.
Yes.
And like my WordPress account, like wiped clean a bunch of stuff because I changed my plan on it.
Oh no.
So I had it saved September through or August through December. And I had January through March on Scott Keith's blog because I posted on there. So I'm like, fuck, I had to redo April through July.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, he just messaged me and he said he's doing some hunting on the Wayback Machine, which I don't know what that means. And he found my stuff through May of 86 so far. Let me know if he can find June or July. So he might be saving my life from having to rewrite stuff.
Interesting.
That's be serious or not.
So the Wayback Machine, Bob, just to give you an idea, if it's the same thing that I'm thinking of, is like an archival coding part of your website where it'll show like timestamp of your site. So if there was stuff that was once there but then got removed, you're able to go back and see what was once there, if that makes sense. And it's I believe it's a coding feature. So I believe that's what he's referencing there. Speaking of references, Crush here says that he can't wait to get his hands on Macho in the Royal Rumble. He hates him. He yells it. I hate him. So again,
he hates him a lot.
Yeah, again, Crush with these little phrases that he's peppering in. It just, I don't know. I like it. They're simple, but the way he's kind of being over animated about it and really sounds mad when he's yelling it. I don't know. I like it.
It's simple but effective. He's doing
there you go.
Doing a really good job on commentary. I apologize for the distraction there, but that really kind of cheered me up a little bit because I was really devastated about maybe losing all that stuff.
Yeah.
IRS tosses Savage over the top to the floor, and he taunts the crowd some more. IRS then rams Savage face first into the ring steps and briefcase.
Mm-hmm.
Savage blocks a boot attempt, and Atomic drops IRS, followed by a clothesline. We then go to our first commercial break of the match, which Austin has been a huge fan of since the inception of this. Oh, maybe not. He lied to me, so that's great.
Oh.
I knew he got his hopes up on it. That's fine.
Oh.
IRS drops Savage chest first over the railing. Crush.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, are you gonna?
Crush hopes Savage bit his tongue off so he wouldn't have to listen to him anymore.
Yeah, he says, "Oh, I hope he bit his tongue off again, so we don't have to hear his big mouth." And I was like, "Oh, fuck."
I thought that was a good line.
Yeah.
Because he did that to him back in October.
Right.
IRS brings Savage into the ring from the apron with a suplex for a near fall. Savage gets out of a sleeper hold, but a knee lift stops his momentum. IRS gets a 2 count following a leg drop. Savage nearly wins with an inside cradle. Savage misses a running strike and hits the corner, leading to a roll up by IRS for a 2 count. Savage sends IRS through the ropes to the floor. Savage comes off the apron with a double axe handle to keep control of the contest. Savage tries to go after Crush, but IRS sends Savage into the post. Crush thinks that Savage tried to get disqualified to end the match because he's afraid of IRS.
Yeah.
We go to our second commercial of the match. which seems excessive. I don't know why we're going on 2 here.
I felt just like they were trying to get him in before they went off air. Like, shit, we still got 3 commercials to go. Just air another one.
Yeah. It was like 3 or 4 minutes had gone by and they went to another one.
They're just trying to get the breaks in here, it seemed like.
Yeah. IRS has kept control with an abdominal stretch for at least a while, it seems like. And he lets go, but then it gets stopped on the apron. Savage goes to the top rope, but is met with a strike in midair. Savage breaks a sleeper hold by getting to the ropes. IRS slams Savage and then climbs to the top again, but Savage gets his boot up. Savage drops IRS throat first over the top rope, and then he slams IRS. Savage goes to the top, but then Crush said, "I've had enough of this.
It's making me sick, McMahon. I can't take this no more."
Yeah, and he leaves the commentary table to shove Savage off, and that causes a disqualification. Crush beats on Savage with strikes and a headbutt, and then he tosses the referee to the floor. Savage is being double teamed by Crush and IRS at this point until Tatanka runs into the ring, but IRS stops him on the apron. Crush drives Savage down with a tilt-a-roll backbreaker. WWF World Champion Yokozuna makes his way down as Crush came off the top to strike Savage. Tatanka gets in the ring and he hammers away on IRS, but then gets beaten down by Yokozuna. Lex Luger comes out wearing some awful USA gear.
Looked like he had swimming trunks on.
It's just not a good look for Luger in these
American flag outfits. Yeah,
his apparel is poor choices. He gets beaten down by Yoko as well. Shawn Michaels and Diesel run into the ring, and there's like a mini Royal Rumble match taking place, and that's what Vince tells us. Bret Hart enters the ring, and he hammers away on Yokozuna, knocking the champion to the floor. And that's how we close the program this week, is basically just a mini Royal Rumble taking place in the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
What did you think of Savage IRS main event first?
I'll tell you what, I didn't mind it. There was definitely some slow spots, really slow spots, that continuous headlocks and the in-between spots of the match. But I thought for what it was, anytime Savage has been in the ring lately, I've been kind of into it because we haven't seen a lot of him at this time. I also, we're getting a phone call here. Must have been IRS thanking me. Because I was going to mention the same thing. I thought he kind of held his own again with Savage. It's a very 80s match. It is. It is, but that's not always necessarily a bad thing when you have matches like 1, 2, 3 Kid. You fucking doing 2010 shit.
Right.
Backed up against, to break it up a little bit, an 80s match like this. So I didn't mind it. I know there was definitely some slow spots. The ending segment, the only problem, and it's so small, it's almost not even worth mentioning. The only problem I had with it is I wish that IRS would have been holding Savage and Crush would have been punching Savage instead of the other way around. I thought that was kind of a small detail, but an important one to kind of continue that a little bit and let Crush kind of lead the way of beating up Randy Savage. So that was small, but I think otherwise the way they kind of laid each other guy coming out and interacting was really well done. And then to the point of even having Bret be the guy to kind of punch Yokozuna out of the ring, I thought was a nice touch because maybe, hey, there's definitely some unfinished business there. So I did. I really enjoyed that. It's the stereotypical kind of pre-Rumble ending to Raw. But just the way it was laid out was, I thought, pretty well done. What did you think about kind of how the way we went off air, Bob?
Well, I thought the match was decent.
Yeah.
Crush was pretty good on commentary. It wasn't as dreadful as I thought it was going to be because IRS pretty boring. Yeah. The aftermath, though, was, I thought, pretty effective. I mean, typical, we have a Royal Rumble. We know what's going to happen.
Right.
But what I thought was very interesting, and I want us at the end here to maybe do like a little prediction thing based on what we think would be the result based on what we've seen on television, not necessarily what we actually know what happens. But Bret Hart coming out last.
Yeah. Not Lex.
To come in and like clean house on Yokozuna. That to me was like, if it's clear Luger's winning the Royal Rumble, he comes in last. That's what you always do.
Yeah.
In that type of segment. But they went with Bret because Brett's gonna get the bigger pop.
Yeah.
So that threw me for a loop. But I thought it was a decent way to close the program this week.
No, I agree with you.
But solid.
Yeah, just I'm glad the way they did it. I thought it was well executed, I guess. As far as the show in general, I think we're definitely starting to be on an upswing for 94. We started off kind of a lot of the same. Good action this week. Owen had another great enhancement match. Crush was surprisingly good on commentary. Diesel had another impressive showing. I really think, again, he and Sean are starting to hit their stride. It was just a good week of Raw. It was one of the Raws where it flew by. I feel like I was watching it for 20 minutes, not 45, 48, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So I would recommend it. I don't think there's anything, majorly outstanding other than maybe the closing of the show, kind of to see how that unravels. But a pretty good hype show leading us into the big pay-per-view extravaganza.
Yeah, I thought it was a good show. I mean, the enhancements matches were pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
So if you're a fellow wrestling fan that likes a good enhancement match,
couple good ones here.
Check this one out because pretty much all of them deliver.
Yeah,
they deliver what their goal is to have presented.
Yep.
So I would recommend it as a good going home show before the Royal Rumble.
For sure.
Maybe steer clear of the Yokozuna segment where he gets scared by Undertaker, but overall the good outweighs the bad, I would say.
Completely agree. Yeah, this is, like I said, we've kind of been on the middle of the road for a while. The last maybe 2 or 3 Raws have been pretty solid, so that's been nice.
Yeah. So this brings us to this is the go home show. The next show obviously is the Royal Rumble, 1994 Royal Rumble, and I think maybe this would be a good time to start doing predictions. I don't think we've done predictions previously, and like I mentioned before, we should do it in the context of we're watching this on television. We don't know in reality of what actually happened. Kind of put blinders on it in that regard. So let's just kind of do a rundown here. WWF World Championship match, Yokozuna, Taker in a casket match. Based on how it's been presented to you on television, how do you think this is going to go? Who would win if this was 1994 and we're about to watch the Royal Rumble next week?
Honestly, I think put it this way. I'm expecting some shenanigans, and I'm expecting Yokozuna to win.
Yeah, that would be the clear indication here is that Yokozuna would be going
especially because Undertaker has so much momentum going into it that if he just beats Yokozuna, puts him in the casket, it's like, well, Yokozuna probably should never be on TV again. Because at that point, like, holy fuck, like he's destroyed.
Right.
So I think he's kind of in a must-win situation.
Yeah, I think he needs a quality win. He hasn't had a quality win in seemingly months.
At least months. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah. WWF Tag Team Champions Quebecers defending against Brett and Owen. How would this one play out?
My immediate thought wants to jump to with the Quebecers just keeping the belts. I feel like they're not going to want to keep playing kind of hot potato with this. And I think it'll leave the door open for a rematch, either with the Hearts or maybe 1, 2, 3 Kid and Marty when the 1, 2, 3 Kid's all healed up. So I think against another heel kind of winner here, I'm gonna have to say Quebecers are probably gonna keep them.
That's how I'm thinking too. If they didn't do the 1, 2, 3 Kid Jannetty title switch, I might think otherwise. But
I know, yeah,
that many title changes in such a short time is not normal.
Right.
I would maybe do it, but it's not normal.
Right.
WWF Intercontinental Champion Razor Ramon defending against IRS. Would we have a new champion? Is it time for the Taxman to get some gold?
Yup.
Whoa.
No. It would make basically no sense because IRS has 0 momentum.
Yeah.
Going into the pay-per-view.
Kind of a weak challenger this time around for Razor Ramon.
Weak challenger. They really haven't fleshed out the story between them too much. They've kind of just made it like a subtle thing, which I don't think is necessarily a good thing. I mean, it stems all the way back to the DiBiase thing, but Again, that was more so Razor DiBiase, not so much IRS. They've only kind of teased that IRS has stolen the chains or whatever of Ramon.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a weak buildup in general, which they could have fleshed out a lot more. They didn't. So that just goes to show me that, hey, this isn't going to be an easy defense for Razor here.
Yeah, I would be amazed. I would be shocked if IRS were to win here. I mean, they're already planting the seeds for Sean and Razor to have a showdown. It would make no sense.
Right.
Tatanka squaring off against Ludwig Borga.
See, I don't know, because immediate thought, again, Tatanka's got to get his revenge from having his streak broken, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Tatanka goes over. But I don't know if they're ready to have Borga lose in kind of a relatively high-profile match yet. So I don't know. I think I want to go with Borga. Again, another heel. But I think I have to go with Borga. I don't know. This one is kind of, I'm not sure. It's up in the air.
I would have to think Tatanka gets his revenge.
That would what I would do.
3 times to the same guy.
Yeah, I would do that personally. But that kind of leaves Borga in a compromising position for sure.
Yeah. This might be like a no contest or something.
Yeah, or something like that. Sure.
Like a double DQ or just to get themselves out of it. I don't know why you would book this, because whoever loses is just, it's going to hurt them severely.
Loses a lot. Yeah.
30-man Royal Rumble, #1 contendership on the line, with the winner facing whoever the WWF World Champion will be at WrestleMania 10. Austin Skinner. Who do you got? Who's winning it?
I have the American Original.
Oh, man.
The man the fans clamored for. He's stolen the nation's heart. Could be next president after Clinton. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Mr. Lexus
Jarrett.
Luger.
Not Jeff Jarrett?
No, he's probably coming in second.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm going Lex Luger. I think it's high time that he captures the gold. And what better stage than WrestleMania 10?
Well, see, now, based on what happened this episode of Raw with Brett coming out last, that's really thrown a wrench into my mindset, thinking maybe Brett is the forefront guy this whole time, but I don't know. I should just say Lex. I think Lex, the way it's been presented on television, everyone and their mother is going to think that Lex Luger is winning this match.
Right.
So I would have to think Lex Luger. I'm going into the show thinking Lex Luger is going to win the 1994 Royal Rumble, and then he's going to win the title at WrestleMania 10 against Yokozuna.
Yes, that's where I'm at. But you know what? If Brett does win, if I was Luger, I'd be fucking pissed.
I would quit the next night.
I'd probably put my notice in, honestly.
I was in a fucking RV
with that smelly bus driver,
Carl, and he.
I don't know.
His t-shirts don't fit.
Holy fuck, man. Oh, you know who cut him off on the highway? Fucking Bret Hart. I was like, bitch. No, bitch, your ride's over. The excellence of fucking driving execution is cutting your ass off.
Traffic laws are different in Canada.
That's right.
That is a known fact.
Damn right.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm excited. That is our next show, 1994 Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be doing one time for that as well. We'll only be recording the Royal Rumble. Just get ourselves a little caught up.
Yeah.
And I think after that, we're going to do another week where it's another one show, but it's a bonus show. Bonus episode.
Right.
Now, it could be a Smoky Mountain show. Maybe not. I don't know if I want to do that one quite yet. I feel like we should do Fall Brawl 93 to keep up with WCW and see what's going on over there.
Okay.
Because that one, obviously, is War Games.
Yeah.
There is also a Rick Rude, Ric Flair match.
Right.
So that would be some heavy interest there as well. We might have to go to Wegmans and rent that videotape and pop it in, also known as the WWE Network. But we can venture down that road. Don't worry, though. We will go into Smoky Mountain Wrestling. I just have to make sure that Austin is prepared for it. It is going to be the Bluegrass Brawl from 1993. It's a relatively quick show. There's one I was thinking about, man, what if we did this all the way to 95? I'd be like, I'd wait to do it with like the Super Bowl of wrestling or whatever. And it's their like 3.5 hour show. So could you imagine you sit there and watch a 3.5 hour Smoky Mountain
son of a bitch
show?
Oh gosh. You know what though? In all honesty, I'm hoping I come out of it eating my words. I really do. I hope I come out of it with a different kind of appreciation for it, because it's easy to judge something, especially hearing some of the names that are involved from an outside perspective. Guys, I've never seen any of their stuff, you know. So I like Cornette. I like, you know, for example, some of the names that have passed through Smoky Mountain. Maybe not necessarily some of the mainstays, but I really hope that after watching this with Bob, who's an avid enthusiast of Smoky Mountain Wrestling, that I have a new appreciation for it. But we'll see about that.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not the guy that has my blinders on and won't acknowledge that some of Smoky Mountain Wrestling is not very good.
Right.
But there are some good parts. The Bluegrass Brawl has I feel like a really good chain match between Tracy Smothers and Dirty White Boy. One of my favorite Smoky Mountain matches, actually. And I think there's like a Heavenly Bodies and Rock and Roll Express around it too. So there's a lot of potential there for you to at least enjoy some aspects of it. And you get to see that kind of wrestling and that culture. You know, because we saw Smoky Mountain here at Survivor Series, and it just didn't really click. But maybe watching it in front of a crowd that gets it would be more enjoyable and change that perception that you have a little bit.
Yeah, because really think about it. The match we got, it was like a fish out of water. You know, you had the fish, you just didn't have the right habitat. So hopefully being able to see something like that where it's a natural fit with a crowd that fucking loves it and is going nuts, not getting up for a piss break, it'll really enhance the experience. So I'm looking forward to it nervously and hoping to come out of it a changed man.
I am hopeful as well. I'm also hopeful that my Spectrum internet did not crash once. The last couple of episodes, we were on it's a Christmas miracle. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I think after you called them and threatened everybody's lives at the Spectrum office, things have turned around a little bit.
Yeah, I did make a woman cry. She told me it was her first day, and I was like, well, it's about to be your last day because I ain't playing around.
On Earth.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Okay. That would be known as a threat. Great. All right. So, Allison, you got anything else for episode 56?
Yeah, just again, guys, I don't want to beg here, but share our stuff around. You know, share us on Facebook. Get those podcasts on forums. Share them with your friends. Two casual guys having casual conversations. We don't pretend to know it all. No. You know, earlier I couldn't think of one fucking name from All Japan Women's Pro Wrestling, but I know there's good women who wrestle for that company at this time. Yeah. So I don't pretend to know it all.
I don't pretend to know how to pronounce Poughkeepsie when it's Poughkeepsie. You know, it's fine.
It's minor details.
It's who cares? So what? I didn't add tags to each episode on the ICO hot page for a year. Sue me. All right. I'm not a professional. I'm not Conrad Thompson where I get 50,000 downloads my first 6 hours. All right. Sorry.
Yeah. And we're not getting paid absorbent amounts of money to sit here and talk about what we like.
Sorry. I don't get to hang out with the Undertaker at StarCast. Okay.
Yeah.
2, when you said, Conrad, that there wouldn't be another one.
Right.
Well, fucking hey, there's another one.
Well, guess what? Unlike Conrad, we're men of our words.
Yeah.
So nothing but genuineness coming from this podcast, unless we're talking about a guy like Joe Sweet.
Well,
so yeah, please spread the word, share us around, leave us some goddamn reviews, please. As a perfectionist, I'd like to see some stars with a plural S on that. Stars on our reviews would be nice. And just spread the love. Spread the love. It's all about love. It's Valentine's Day as we're recording this. I love my girlfriend so much, as Bob said earlier, I told her to get the fuck in the bedroom and don't come out for the next 2 hours. Because I got shit to do. So don't be like me. Be better than me if you can. Probably not.
Probably not. He is Austin Skinner. He is pretty great.
Right. So, yeah, just do us that favor. But let that be our belated Valentine's Day gift. And we'll love you to pieces forever for it.
Yeah, do that favor for us. We did a favor for you guys by doing that battle royal at Albert Hall, which was a fucking disaster, which was released earlier today, so you can go and find it and listen to it, and we'll complain for 3 hours about it.
Yeah.
So
Thanks
you
for
owe
that
us.
one. Yeah.
You all owe us.
Right.
Don't you forget that.
That's right.
And also don't forget to join us for episode 57, which will be the 1994 Royal Rumble. For Austin Skinner, I am Bob Collian Jr., and this has been IcoPod.
You all owe us, and you gotta hear it.